What's good, YouTube? It's Robert with Texas Toast RC coming back at you with another build video. Those of you that have seen my previous videos, you've seen this rig right here, my Texas rig. Know that I am a leaf spring fanatic. I at one point was into cheater rigs, all that good stuff. I got my first RC4WD drive about a couple years ago, started tweaking with it, messing with it, and ever since then have just fallen in love with leaf springs, scale life, all that good stuff. So let me go ahead and show you what I'm working on right now. RC4WD drive TF2 Blazer. This started life as the limited edition, so it has a scale V8, had the double shocks in the front. Obviously we're far from what it used to look like, so let's go ahead and just cut to it. We'll get this guy out of the garage, move the Blazer in there, and let's get going. All right, so here we are, Blazer's in the garage. Speaking of garage, this is gonna be my next project right here. Got this back when I first got my trail runner. That was my first RC, got me into this during COVID times. It served its purpose, it's all right, but now that I'm getting more scale into my trucks, I wanna have a better place to display it, so keep an eye out. This is gonna be next right here. So going back to the Blazer. So again, this was the limited edition TF2 Blazer. It was the all blue with the white top. Has the scale V8 motor, had the dual shocks, all that good stuff. Looked really nice, but when it comes to my personal taste, it's not what I like. I like stuff that looks like it's been through, you know, put through its paces. You know, it's an old beater truck, you know, different parts off of a different truck. Went here and I 3D printed a hood scoop to mold to the actual hood of the truck. But like I said, my flavor, my type of building trucks, I like them to look beat. I like them to look beat up, especially for a Blazer. I mean, everybody's seen those clapped out Blazers, right? So this is pretty much what we're going with here. So overview of the outside, like I said, I put my own taste into what we're seeing. Again, nothing for me, especially because of the way I crawl. It's gonna get beat up anyways. I can never really put a nice paint job on something and just justify going out there and beating it up the way that I do. So it's, why not do this? And you know, all these little scratches just add to the detail. So, all right guys, so before we pull this body off to show you everything that's running the truck, let's go ahead and go over the exterior. First off, wanted to go over A&M Garage. Everybody that's been working with leaf springs for some time now and know the performance side of things have heard of A&M Garage. Great products, all kinds of great stuff for the TF2s, for the Mojave. An awesome front bumper, shackle reverse, all that good stuff. I had no idea that they actually made a front bumper for the Blazer. I had seen it on their Facebook page not that long ago, and I'm like, I need to have it because I've had it on one of my TF2 Mojaves before. So pretty much the same, almost the same design. Obviously, it's got to rake out a little bit more to clear the body itself. Still does your shackle reverse, does the +4 on it, so it does bring that up just a little bit. Again, with the nose of the Blazer, your front does still hit before your tires do, but I love this bumper. This bumper's so solid. It's a great product. A&M Garage, anything leaf springs, hit them up. Just make sure when you hit them up, shoot him a message on Instagram or Facebook. He'll be able to give you a discount, though he doesn't really like to order through his site just because of the extra charges. So I'll put a link down below to his website. For you scale accessory guys, on the exterior, if you can see here, I got your little magnetic CB antenna with the 76 ball. That came from Twisted Tree RC. Again, it's magnetic, so there's actually a magnet up in here, and it sits right on there. It's been very durable. This thing has been through a few rollovers. Yeah, it'll kind of bend a little bit, but you can just kind of bend it back. But cool looking CB antenna, especially because on the interior I have a CB radio. So going around the back, I've broken so many stock bumpers, rear bumpers. I figured, you know what, why am I still buying these things? I have a 3D printer, let me find a file. So I found this file on Colts 3D. Kind of like that farm truck. It's a big bumper, but it fits, right? It's that farm truck look. Painted it up myself, gave it that rusty beat up look, got a ball hitch on there. So again, it fits the build, and if I ever need another one, a couple hours on the printer, I got a new one. All right, so as far as body mounting options on this thing, Those that have the Blazer know that the stock TF2 RC4WD drive mounts, they are good for what they are. They're just not the best. The body typically rattles around. You just have your 2 posts here, especially if you do the grub screw mod. It's not a very solid connection. Then you have your body post back here that just uses the body pins, and it rattles around. What I went ahead and did is I went with Shrink RC. I'll make sure to put his links, or all the links to all the parts that I'm running. I'll put them below. He makes body mounts for this thing, and let me tell you what, it's solid. Check this out. That rattles from the leaves. That is not from the body. This thing is not going anywhere. That thing is solidly mounted. And yes, I understand people like the ease of doing the grub screw mod. This, I do actually have screws that I got to use my hex for, but for how heavy the truck is, having this type of mount just works so much better. 3D printed, but solid 3D print, like Shapeways 3D print quality. 3D printed parts here. There is a part that goes back here that 3D prints. It mounts to your existing body post mount here. And then there's screws with a 3D printed washer that holds everything together. And like I said, I know it's a pain to take this off and put the battery in place, but again, for what it is and how solid that stays on, I love it. It's to me, it's worth it, you know? So, all right guys, well, let me go ahead and take this body off and we will go ahead and see what we got going on inside. All right guys, so 6 screws later and the body is off. So what we're working with here, this is the regular wheelbase TF2 chassis. Obviously you see some extras here that doesn't come standard on it. We'll cover all that. But let's go ahead and start with the electronics. With this being the limited edition, like I said before, it does have the scale V8 motor. Love the way it looks. It's a Blazer, should have the V8, right? This is my first one that actually has a motor inside of it, and I think it looks phenomenal. Even adds that extra weight in the front to keep that front end down, right? So, electronics, motor, I'm running a Hobbywing Fusion Pro. It does fit in here, but there are some modifications you have to do to the can itself. So, I actually have another Fusion Pro here that I'm putting in one of my other trucks. This right here has to be shaved down for it to fit. Pretty much where your grooves are at in this, all that needs to come off. It does fit, it's gonna be a tight fit, but that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to modify that, shave it down for it to be able to fit inside. Again, once you do, it is a lot of metal, but there's plenty of metal there. You'll be able to get it to fit in here. So 2300 kV Hobbywing Fusion Pro. For any of us that are running TF2s, I recommend Fusion Pros, all-in-ones, just because when you're running a full interior, there's not a lot of mounting options here to work with, depending on the ESC. I mean, unless you go with something small like those Silent Assassins that are, you know, super small. I mean, that's cool, that'll work. But anything else, like I said, I always run the Fusions just because it's all in one, all here in the front. Don't have to figure out another spot for other electronics. For the servo, running the Reefs 555 steering servo. It's a great servo. I have NSDRC in one of my other ones. In my old TF2 rig, I was running Reefs and all that too. I love their products. Can go with either one. It's all in personal preference. People get too into the whole branding and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. As long as it works and it's not noisy, I'm going to run it. So Reefs 555 up here for the steering servo. We have the also Reefs Micro 99 servo winch. I actually just put this in last night. First time mounting it in this direction. I'm gonna need to get a longer winch line, but first time mounting in this direction, use some aluminum tube to run it all the way to the front. So we got that running there. So again, it's a heavy truck. I don't see the point of having those big old servos where people are suspending their rig in the air and they're trying to hold it up and pull it up. It's not necessary, man. With these, you just need that extra, just that extra pull to help you stay planted to the rocks. These work perfectly fine. And again, because of the limited space we have in these rigs, I'd rather go with those more than anything. Radio, using a FlySky Noble. So I got a FlySky receiver. I was running Spectrums before. Decided to make a switch, so we're switched over to the FlySky, and I love it. It's a great radio. These receivers are a lot cheaper than the Spectrum ones. And like I said, so far so good. It's only been a few months that I ran it, and I absolutely love it. So that's it for electronics. So let's go ahead and get into more of the performance aspect of it. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into the performance of this rig. Everybody that has owned a TF2 knows that they don't perform very well out of the box. They're stiff. They will perform at some point. They just take a long time for those leaf springs to break in. My first TF2 that I had, I ran stock leaves on that thing. After they broke in, that thing would crawl anything. It would flex. It was great, but it takes a long time, and a lot of people get frustrated because of the fact that they don't perform right out the box. So one option that we do have here, I'm working with my buddy Twisted Fab Co. I'll put a link down in the description below where you can reach him. I'm testing out his stage 1 leaf springs. Anybody that knows Twisted Fab knows his original design. They're great. I have them on my Texas rig. Those leaves are phenomenal, but they are pricey. You get what you pay for, right? So what he's currently working on is a stage 1 long leaf. These will be a better than stock option, bit cheaper than what his current setups are. You can hit him up, ask him about them. Cool thing about this guy is he guarantees his leaves to work. If for whatever reason you break a leaf, bend it, the eyelets come undone, whatever, he's gonna go ahead and get you covered and get you back on the rocks. Just let him know, hit him up, and he'll send you some replacements. I will tell you, I have yet to do any of those things with my Texas rig, and I've been running those leaves for quite a while. So again, this is gonna be a stage 1. It's a longer leaf, as you can see. Difference between this and the other ones, it is a thicker material. This does take a little bit of time to break in. After 3 runs, these things are flexing great. This is a thicker type material. It's just a single piece of metal, way more solid, like I said, than your stock TF2 leaves. But again, long travel, this thing is great. I mean, it's a heavier rig, obviously with the big body, the V8 and everything, and it holds very well. I mean, you can see the way it sinks. On the back, this thing does flex. Again, the rear's still breaking in because that is the lighter end of the truck, but this thing has been performing phenomenal since I've been testing it out. I will say, any of you guys that are running your scale V8 though, your up travel is going to be limited, because with the scale V8, I don't know if you can see it, you have your oil pan right here, your oil pan. Your axle does end up hitting that oil pan, so it does limit your travel. But again, everything else, performance wise, this thing just rocks. This is going to be pretty much kind of like your upgrade from stock setup, because if you look at my axles, I'm still running the stock K44s. I did SSD. For those of you who haven't seen it, SSD just released some TF2 upgrades. So we have the brass knuckles for the K44s. They also have done the original Yoda axles. They did a machined Yoda axle for the front, as well as the knuckles for those Yoda axles. But they, like I said, released these K44s. So got the K44 knuckles in the front. Great. Anti-wrap bar. I will say that is one thing Twisted Fab Co recommends for his leaves, because it is a softer spring. Get an anti-wrap bar. This is the RC4WD drive one. A&M Garage makes one. I have it on the Texas rig. That one's great too. Wanted to try this one out just because it looked a little bit more scale. It's cool. I will say it's all right. I like the A&M better, but this one fits for what it is. But again, for the rear, get an anti-wrap bar. Especially whenever you're hitting that incline like this and you're getting all that twist in the axle, that's going to keep your axle from twisting up on you. Again, keeping it stockish style, I still went with your stock shocks here. No springs in it, as most of us that modify these know. It is a little oiled up, so that way we have, you know, some lube for the front, for the travel. Same thing with the rear. With these, you're not going to get as much shock angle to come out this way, just because of how the mounting point is on the stock axles. That's about as far as it'll go, which, like I said, it's good enough. You know, like I said, it performs really well. So yeah, that's pretty much it performance wise. Tires, I am running, these were the Proline Super Swampers. Great tires. Wanted to go more stock, so these are actually 1.5 tires on Spec RC 1.7 wheels, so they're stretched. Still running stock foams. I want to go to a dual stage foam at some point, because these things do, as you can see, they just bend, you know, side hilling, you know, my tires rolling underneath it. So gonna go to a dual stage. Thinking about running maybe a bigger tire, still not sure. Maybe a little bit bigger. Pitbull makes a good 1.7 tire that's still not a huge size, obviously with the wheel well on the Blazer, there's not much room for a larger size. So again, that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, this thing, I've had it for not too long. With these upgrades that I've done, it performs. I have a short on YouTube right now of this thing going up a pretty steep transition. And as long as you know how to drive these leafers, because I'll tell you right now, it's not like driving a cheater rig. It's not just gonna crawl up everything you put in front of it. It does take some finesse, but I'm telling you, once you get into it and you learn and you just figure out how to maneuver these things, I get more satisfaction, you know, crawling these trucks than I do a cheater rig. So let's go ahead and get the body back on and we'll wrap this thing up. All right, guys, body's back on. So like I said, overall, great truck. I'm happy with it. I love the way it looks. I'm not a Chevy guy personally. I like my Fords. Unfortunately, this is the only body option we have outside of your Mojave, so I guess it'll do. But like I said, I've been impressed with this rig. I love the way it works. Everything just works so well. I love the way it looks out on the rocks. It's just, it's honestly a great truck, man. I mean, I love it. Like I said, leaf springs are my thing. Slowly converting everybody at my local crawl spot to leaf spring rigs, turning them over to the leaf side, kind of like a Darth Vader. But yeah, man, scale life is the best life for me. I love it. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, just post them down in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. If you get a chance, check out my Instagram. Same thing as my YouTube, Texas Toast RC. Check it out, give it a follow, check out my other builds, check out some other stuff I've worked on, some of the buddies I crawl with, you know, all that stuff. I got some good videos and pictures up there. So until next time, guys, peace.